Welcome to the state television campaign of Western Armenia, today's broadcast. The 28th issue of the Western Armenian weekly newspaper has been published. Gardman-Shirvan-Nakhijevan joins the call of the Lemkin Institute. According to Aliyev, if the Constitution of Eastern Armenia is not changed, a peace treaty will not be signed. We assess the attempts of Baku as a gross interference in the internal affairs of our country. FA. People with trauma are offered a way of spiritual and psychological recovery. The film, with the participation of famous actor Jason Momoa, won at the Armenian Sunny Festival. Artificial intelligence course was introduced in 16 schools of Eastern Armenia. Armenia won 3 gold medals. In the 28th issue of the Western Armenian weekly newspaper, you can read articles dedicated to the memory of the victims of the genocide committed against Armenians carried out by the 3 successive Turkish governments in Western Armenia between 1894 and 1923. The new issue includes articles dedicated to the perception of society in Western Armenia, the structure of Armenian identity in the world, and the influence of information. You can download the Armenian, English, French, and Turkish versions of the weekly newspaper in PDF format from the following link. The Pan-Armenian Union Gardman-Shirvan-Nakhijevan welcomes and joins the call of the Lemkin Institute for the Prevention of Genocide. The Union demands not only to stop supporting Baku in holding the 29th UN Climate Change Conference, but also to record all other crimes committed by Baku and hold them accountable internationally and immediately. It is mentioned in the statement that in the last century, atrocities in Baku have been continuously punished, which has given them a reason to think that it is possible to walk over human rights, the highest value of civilization. The Pan-Armenian Union records how a terrorist country with its similar president can be concerned about climate and environmental issues if in recent years it has provoked at least 2 large-scale wars against the civilian population. Also, for about 10 months, he caused a humanitarian disaster and kept 120,000 civilians in captivity, which carried out the most genuine ethnic cleansing and is currently engaged in intensive ethnocide, just as he carried out in the historical Gardman-Shirvan-Nakhijevan areas. The leader of Baku, Aliyev, once again considered the Constitution of Eastern Armenia as an obstacle for signing a peace treaty with Eastern Armenia. He announced this at the meeting with members of the Parliamentary Assembly of Turkish-speaking countries. He noted that if the constitution remains unchanged, it will simply be impossible to reach a peace treaty. He thinks that with this demand, Baku does not interfere in the internal affairs of Eastern Armenia. The other important statement is that they proposed to Eastern Armenia to submit a joint application to the OSCE to dissolve the Minsk group. It renders that if Eastern Armenia prefers to keep the Minsk group, it will mean that it has territorial claims against Baku. We assess attempts of Baku as a gross interference in the internal affairs of our country. FA. Eastern Armenia has no territorial claims from any of its neighbors, including Azerbaijan. The Foreign Ministry of Eastern Armenia issued a statement about this. Responding to the president of Baku, it said that the Constitution of Eastern Armenia and its amendments are internal affairs of the country, and the official Baku attempts to interfere in the internal Armenian discussions about this, which started in 2018, are evaluated as gross interference. At the same time, they believe that such a speech calls into question the sincerity of the leadership of Baku to achieve peace. According to the statement, the draft peace agreement also includes an agreed provision that neither party may invoke its domestic law to breach its obligations under the peace agreement. People with trauma are offered a way to spiritual and psychological recovery, and we must do everything that our compatriots can start the road to recovery, said Nubar Afeyan, co-founder of the Aurora Humanitarian Initiative. For this idea, he founded that the Armenian Spiritual Rehabilitation Fund. Speaking about the importance and specificity of the initiative, Afeyan emphasized that there has always been a need for such a program in which spiritual values and psychology will be combined, and with the help of which people will be able to recover from the psychological consequences of wars and various disasters. With the joint effort of the best Armenian and foreign specialists, traumatized people are offered a way of spiritual and psychological recovery that like of which has not been seen in the Armenian reality until now. While developing the program, the foundation took into account the best world experience. At the same time, the spiritual and psychological characteristics of the Armenian people. President Mr. Armine Abrahamian had already prepared a psychological treatise on these issues. The film, with the participation of famous actor Jason Momoa, won at the Armenian Sunny Festival. The film, with the participation of the famous American actor, model, director, screenwriter and producer Jason Momoa, won the 12th Armenian Sun International Environmental Festival. The film won in the category of full-length documentaries in biodiversity conservation. I would like to mention that the 12th Armenian International Environmental Festival was held in Yerevan, in which dozens of environmental organizations, hundreds of guests took part, and all they were united by one idea: to do the best for the protection of nature. This year, 40 films from different parts of the world were shown within the framework of the festival. Several active workshops and exhibitions were held. Artificial intelligence course was introduced in 16 schools of Eastern Armenia. Artificial intelligence course was implemented in 16 schools in Eastern Armenia last year in cooperation with the private sector. This was reported by the Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport during the discussion of an annual report of the implementation of the budget at the joint session of the NA standing committees. According to the minister, in this sense, our country is one of the first countries in the world that already has such a program at the school level. The members of the Armenian freestyle wrestling team finished their performance in the ranking tournament held under the auspices of the International Federation. According to reports, Armenia won 3 medals, 2 gold and 1 silver at the tournament held in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. The gold medalist of the tournament became the 61-kilogram Arsen Hayatunian, who overcame the representative of Kyrgyzstan, Tar Zekumash Bikulu, in the final. Representative of Armenian national team, Vazgen Tavanyan and Arman Andreasen, competed in the final of the 70-kilogram weight category. Arman Andreasen, the champion of Europe in 2024, managed to gain an advantage. Tavanyan won a silver medal. Earlier, Vazgen Tavanyan and Arsen Hayatunian qualified for the Paris Summer Olympic Games from the Armenian team. Dear viewers, this was all for today. I wish you good weekends. Goodbye.